So my mother's family also went from very wealthy to almost nothing. So my mother also had to go through her life on scholarship. And she was the first Muslim girl of Bombay to get a scholarship to America. My parents are self-made. And it was very important, and they indulged me. I got sent to Yale University in America, I got holidays in Europe, and I always told myself, after I graduate, I really don't want to live off that money anymore. It was really, really important for me to survive off my money. And that was one reason also I was scared of being an artist. How will I live? And performance has always been very interesting for me, so it gave me a venue to show performance works and curate performance shows. And that is the story of the gallery, and John is the coordinator of the gallery. And what's really important to me, Cemil, is documentation. One of the shows we did was on the 1970s in Pakistan. The 1970s, the decade of the 70s, it's a very interesting time in Pakistan. But then, I had my first show, it went well, I had another one, and I worked endlessly, and it was this whirlwind of work and making and selling and surviving and trying to do what I wanted to do and somehow make a living out of it. And then I started curating in the middle of the story. In the late 90s, there was a hotel, the Sheraton Hotel. There were very few five-star hotels, and in the 90s, hotels became almost like a semi-public space in Karachi. John and my idea was, or our dream was, that we would like to use that space as an experimental space in Karachi. Karachi, the way Pakistan's art scene is divided, Lahore has all the major art institutions, all the really good academic institutions are in Lahore. Karachi is where the commercial gallery nexus is. And that's why my father was in Karachi, all the modernists gravitated towards Karachi, because that's where you sold your work. For kids, people would go there like us. I couldn't really afford more than a coffee, so we'd just sit there in the hotel, have one coffee, and sit there for hours. And a lot of people would do that. It became sort of like a gathering place, it's not just for the people within the hotel. So they gave me the hotel coffee shop to curate a show. And actually they wanted me to go upstairs in the gallery. I said, no, I want to be downstairs in the lobby. It's the more public space, and that's the space where we would inhabit. So I took over that entire space. I did it for 4 years running. And what I would do is I would juxtapose young artists' work with artists that were established. So there were people who had just graduated from art school. I'd go around to all the art schools in Karachi, pick up work I thought was interesting, and juxtapose it with very established works. And because by that time I kind of had a bit of a reputation as an artist, people, I could get the work, they would trust me, and we'd have these shows, and I'd call them urban voices. A lot of times you tell the writers, you can write whatever you want. You don't have to write about the show. It's not necessary. Perhaps you want something, you want to say something, say it. And so they become these kind of open platforms. And again, for me, it's really important that information should be free. I don't come from a rich country, and information should be for all. And so everything what we do is, whatever I do, I put it on my website, and it's there, it's available, it's free. The horror of the demise does not take away the energy and the joy of the life, the triumph of the life. And Cemil, I'm pretty severe. I'm not superstitious. I really am not, but it felt like there was a certain energy involved of Zaro, my mother, and Gulgee, my father, that sort of it just happened. Once it started, the process, it had a speed and an energy of its own. So that is what's happening. The renovations of my parents' place have been gone. That's where they lived, so it has to be converted into a museum space. Have been going on for 2 years. My father started making art or being an artist. There was no structure. There was almost nothing. He had to sort of create the structure himself and create a niche for himself. And it's incredible what he did. So the Khan said, okay, I'll come down to Paris. And he got married in Paris. And my mother, they eloped. So my mother borrowed a sari, and the Khan married them in Paris. So there was just the two of them and Erhan. And they got married.
They got married in Paris?
They got married in Paris, and then they both moved to Karachi. You have the artist, the Asian artist, the Turkish artist, the whatever artist, the gay artist, and they tend to be living in Paris, in New York, in Germany, wherever, And for me, it has been so far, I don't know, perhaps it'll change later, but so far, and I'm super old, it has been kind of important for me to exist in Karachi. You're surfing on it, and sometimes these horrible things happen. I mean, I was really close to my parents, right? They were my best friends, both of them. I mean, I was incredibly close to both of them. It just seems that way, and it's just taking you places, and that's why, when you say courage, it's like, no, I'm just doing, and I'm constantly doing.
We have to watch or hear the examples.
And question narratives.
Yeah.